So in the beginning of this series, we see a boy named Hirako, who was on the hospital bed because he had a disease, and he had not been up from the bed for many years. Then suddenly he dies and his soul goes to God, where God tells him that your previous life was very bad. It's my fault because I made a mistake in writing your fate. So I want to give you another chance to live, in which you will get a very healthy body, and you can do whatever you want in your second life. On this, Hirako tells God that I used to watch farming on TV, while lying on the hospital bed. That's why I want to do farming in my second world. And I want to be alone and only do farming. Hearing this, God talks to the god of agriculture, and gives Hirako a magical farming tool, who will help him in farming. After this, God sends him to another world, where Hirako sees when he opens his eyes that he is in a jungle, and now he stands up and becomes very happy, because he had not been standing for many years due to his illness. Now Hirako sees that magical tool, given by God, that turns into a tool to dig the soil, so Hirako tries it, where he finds out that he is not getting tired at all while working. Also, the soil of this world is also very good, but Hirako needed water to farm. So he carefully hears the sound of the river nearby. But at the same time, a monster passes behind him, seeing which he thinks that the jungle is very dangerous. So he will have to find a safe place to live. Now, while looking for a good place in the jungle, Hirako comes to a giant tree, which he likes very much, but he still does not know anything about the river. That's why he decides to use the groundwater. That's why Hirako turns his tool into a shovel and starts digging a hole, where he gets water after digging a little. Now after getting water, Hirako decides to farm here. But there were a lot of trees around here. That's why he turns his tool into an axe and starts cutting the trees around him. Also, he collects their wood so that they can build their house too. After a while, it's evening, that he will need light in the dark. So he thinks of burning the fire. But he can't make any matches with the help of his magical tool, because by doing this, his tool is finished. So he makes a magnifying glass. But when the sun had set, so Hirako makes a place in that giant tree, and arranges to live, and sits there and starts cleaning the utensils. The next morning, Hirako first burns the fire with that magnifying glass, after which she starts to feel hungry. Suddenly, a monster rabbit attacks him, so Hirako kills him with her tool, and then he makes a toilet. But he was looking strange without the wall toilet. So he makes his walls with wood. After this, Hirako starts digging some places for farming. After digging, he realizes that he has no seed to grow, so he decides that the next day he will bring the seed from the jungle. But the next day when he wakes up, he comes to know that the seedless plants had started to grow in that place. And all this happened because of his farming tool. By using it, he can grow it thinking about any vegetable or fruit. Therefore, Hirako is now even happier to know this. And to protect himself, he makes fences around him. Also, by using the cut wood, he also makes a small house for himself. After a few days, he sees two dogs outside his fence, which looked very injured. That's why Hirako gives them meat to eat. Then he finds out that a female dog is going to be delivered from them. That's why Hirako brings them to his hut, and comes to live in some giant tree. The next day, Hirako sees that the female dog had given a lot of puppies. That's why he gives them more food, which he had collected by killing some monsters. Now a few days pass, where Hirako tells that his dogs had not left the place even after being puppies. So he made another house for himself. He used to help Hirako in dogs hunting and patrolling. Apart from this, Hirako also explored the jungle with them, because of which he got a river. But he was a little far from his home, So he decides that he will divert this river towards his house by making a way. Hiraku's growing vegetables were ready for harvesting. So Hiraku cuts them and makes a soup by mixing rabbit meat in it, which his dogs like very much. But he was missing salt, but he was not understanding from where to arrange the salt. After a few days, it starts to get cold, but Hiraku did not have warm clothes. At the same time, his dogs take Hiraku to a spider, which was very friendly. And she gives him a lot of clothes and household items in return for the potatoes grown by Hiraku. At the same time, Hiraku keeps his name Zabuton. And that spider also starts living on that giant tree. Now the snow had started falling. So Hiraku starts living at home by collecting things. But now he starts feeling very lonely because he had no one to talk to. After a few months, the winters go away. And after the winters, Hiraku comes out of the house, and he sees that Zabuton and his dog's puppies have also become puppies. Then Zabuton starts ringing the bell and alerting everyone. So Hiraku goes to the jungle and he sees a small girl who was actually a vampire. And she was running away from someone. So Hiraku sees her injured condition and gives her his blood. After drinking the blood, that vampire girl comes back to her real form, where we find out that he is of the same age as Hiraku. Hiraku shows him his house and farm, where Hiraku's vegetables look very tasty to him. That's why Hiraku offers him to stay here forever. So the girl, whose name was Lu, also agrees to become his wife by seeing the nature of Hiraku and this place. The next day, Lu puts the toilet and lights in the house with the help of her magic. Also, she tells Hiraku that there is salt in the lower layer of this earth, which he can boil and purify. After this, Hiraku is surprised because he had not known anything about it for so long. At the same time, Zabuton rings the bell again. And when Hiraku goes to the forest and sees, he finds out that his pets have imprisoned an angel. So Hiraku frees him. When the angel sees Lu there when he is free, she asks him to walk with her in anger. Hiraku's dogs attack him again when they see him angry. Next, the angel tells Hiraku that her name is Tia, and she has come to catch Lu here, because she had made a big blast while making medicine in a kingdom, so she has a big reward. But Lu tells Tia that she will not go from here, but she also tells Tia to stay here. Also, she tells him about her and Hiraku's relationship. Knowing this, Tia is surprised. After this, Lu starts showing Tia the crop field, where when Tia tastes those vegetables, she likes them very much. And Tia is very happy to taste the strawberries grown by Hiraku. So she agrees to stay here. And here Lu and Hiraku start helping in farming. Here Hiraku sees that he has a lot of dogs. So he makes a very big dog house for them separately from his house. Tia thinks that Hiraku should increase the production of strawberries. But only those three could not do this. So Tia brings some elves there who did not have a house. So Hiraku gives them permission to live there. After which they start preparing a big house for all the elves to live. Where Hiraku sees that she was very good at the construction of elves. So she makes a very big house very soon, in which everyone had their own rooms. Those elves really like the vegetables grown by Hiraku, so she tells him that she will also work as a blacksmith and miner for him. And that's why she makes a furnace, which she uses to make steel utensils for Hiraku. She also makes bread for them. So, seeing all this, Hiraku is very happy and asks Lu that we have made a house here. But this place does not belong to anyone, right? On this, Lu tells him that this place belongs to the demon lord. But he does not think that they will bother him. In the evening, elves, Lu and Tia start talking to each other that Hiraku is very different. Because he easily cuts down very big trees. And he has also made Inferno Wolf and the dangerous spider his pet. On which magic does not work and many people are afraid of them. Next day, Hiraku also finds a queen bee. So for her, He a nest so that he can collect honey from queen bee after a few days. After this, Hiraka makes a very big pit to make something like a pond. So Lu asks him about this. So Hiraka says to him that I want to collect water here, so that we do not have to remove water from the well again and again. Now Hiraka takes the water of that river with the help of elves and brings it to that pond, due which that pond is completely filled. Along with that, a lot of fish were also coming from that way, so Hiraka cooks these fish, which those elves Tia and Lu like very much. After a while, Hiraka goes to check his rice crop, but due to lack of water, it was wilted, so Hiraka brings water from that pond and makes a rice field and grows rice plants in it, and with the help of his farming tour, he separates the from the rice plant. And then he cooks the rice and makes a rice ball, which the elves like so much that it does not save for Hiraku. The next day they all start growing rice again. But Hiraka sees that the elves and the rest of them used to clean themselves with magic. But he could not do this. So he decides to make a bathhouse. After this, he makes the structure of the bathhouse with the help of the elves. He makes a furnace with the help of Lu. Hirako does not understand what to do with the dirty water of the bathhouse. So Tia tells him about the slime that cleans the water by eating the dirt. After this, Tia puts the slime in the toilet and bathroom so that the dirty water can be cleaned. After this, Hirako tells them about bathing, because they used to clean themselves with magic. But when Hirako shows them the bathtub, he likes to stay in hot water, because she hasn't bathed in hot water for a long time. Then all the girls come to the bathtub, which looks very awkward to Hirako. The next day, more elves also come to Hirako's house, which was lost. So Hirako also gives them permission to stay there. After this, all the girls together upgrade their house, where now they also had a kitchen and storage room in the new house. That's why Hirako likes it very much. After making the house, everyone starts feeling very hungry. That's why Hirako says to all of them that today, I will make naan and vegetables. After this, Hiraka starts collecting all the spices, where he also collects coriander. After this, Hiraka makes naan and vegetables, in which all the girls were shivering in the food, because they had never seen such food. But after eating Hiraku, she eats food twice. Now after a few days, the winter started. That's why Hiraku and the others start preparing for the winter. First of all, Hiraka collects wood and Zabuto makes a blanket out of it. And the rest of the girls were storing food for the bath. They were doing all the work with magic. That's why Hiraku is a little disappointed because he couldn't use magic. But Lu motivates him that he is the most important here. Now they start living inside the house in the winters. Also to pass the time, Hiraku also makes games like chess, reversi and bowling ball, in which Hiraku and Lu were losing and both the dogs of Hiraku were winning. Now slowly, while enjoying like this, they spend the winters. And when they come out in the summer, they see a Waywen coming towards them who was setting fire in the jungle. So the elves go to put out the fire and Tia and Lu start thinking to attack Y1. But Y1 was much more powerful than them. Then in anger, Hiraku turns his tool into a spear to save his house, and throws it towards Y1. Due to which Y1 dies. Seeing this, Tia and Lu are surprised because Hiraku had killed Y1 so easily. After that, they all cook the meat of that Y1 and eat it. At night, we see the castle of Demon Lord where there was a lot of tension because of the defeat of Hiraku's Wavens. Because they thought that Hiraku has a lot of powers. The next day, Hiraku grows grapes with the help of all the girls and fills them in barrels, so that they can make wine from them. After while, Zabutone rings the bell again. And when Hiraku and Lu go to the jungle, they find out that their pets have imprisoned Lu's younger sister, who came here looking for Lu. Tells her that she lives here and Hiraku is her husband. But Lu's younger sister Flora was not believing how an ordinary person could be her sister's husband. So Lu tells her that Hirako is not an ordinary person. She has defeated Wyvern and Inferno Wolf is her pet. So knowing this, Flora gets scared. After this, Hirako feeds her tofu, which she likes very much, so she also decides to stay here. But she didn't bring anything for Hirako, so she goes back and brings some maids and cows there so that Hirako can make cheese. Here Tia sees that there are too many elves and maids here, and she is the only angel here. So she also goes back and brings some angels and lizards there. She also brought chickens for Hirako so that their lack of eggs is also fulfilled. Now Hirako puts the maids in the work of cleaning and eating. Lizardman puts the construction and Angel in the work of guarding the jungle. Then the leader of those elves brings some more elves there. So Hirako also gives them to stay there. And because there are so many people, he names that place Great Tree Village. And now, in the joy of naming his village, they party all night. Where they also use the vines that were now made. The next morning, a messenger comes from the demon kingdom in that village who had brought a medicine as a gift for Hirako. Also says to Hirako that I have come here for the settlement of this place. Hearing this, Hirako thinks that the demon lord wants to collect the tax from him because he was living here without permission. So he gets ready to give the demon lord a 10% tax. Hearing the messenger is shocked because he actually came to tell Hirako not to attack the demon palace because he was afraid of the power of Hirako. Now Hirako gives some apples and clothes as a gift to the messenger and sends them back. When the messenger goes back and tells all the generals that there are many elves, angels and vampires in the village of Hirako, but he has also made his pet Inferno Wolf and Demon Spider. Hearing they all get scared. The next morning, the ruler of the dragons, Drime, comes to the village of Hirako with his servant and gives him a sword as a gift. So Hirako asks him the reason for coming there. On this, the servant says to Hirako that my master wanted to meet you because his house is also nearby here. So Hirako takes Drime inside and gives him food and wine. Drime gets intoxicated after drinking the wine, and he does not feel like going from there. That servant forcefully takes him from there. Now after going from there, Hirako says to everyone that we cannot bring our guest directly to our house like this. So we have to make a guest house. Now they all make a guest house, and also think of a way greet the guest. The next morning, some beast men come to their village, some of whom were hidden, and they did not even bring gifts for Hirako. That's why Lu and Tia start doubting them that they can be enemies. But those people tell that they just want to trade with the village of Hirako. Because they can make very good utensils. But there is a shortage of food in village. So Hirako agrees to trade with them. But Tia asks them that why were your people hidden, and why didn't you bring the gift? On those people say that we were hidden so that if the people in front die, then the people in the village will give this news to the villagers. And there is no tradition of gift in their village, so they did not bring the gift. But they will definitely come next time. After this, those beast men leave from there with some silver utensils. So, in return for those utensils, Hirako sends some fruits to all of them by the hands of Tia and Drime. But when Tia comes back after delivering the fruits, so she tells Hirako that there are more than 20 girls in his village. That's why he wants to send them here. So Hirako agrees to let them stay there. But he also asks for 3 boys in return. Because there were all the girls in his village. And because of this, the future of his village could be in danger. But those villagers send 3 children with 20 to 20 girls. Because they thought that any boy would go to Hirako. Now after a few days, Hirako tells us that the beasts, girls and children have been properly adjusted here. So now Hirako is also easily involved in his farming work. But then the ground starts shaking. So the angels who keep an eye on the jungle tell Hirako that the bear and viper monsters are fighting there. So Hirako goes there and kills them with his spear and starts making different dishes using meat. But it seemed to him that this food should not make anyone sick because he was a viper. So he goes to Flora, who took care of the medicines in the village. So Hirako goes to him and asks him if you have anything to kill the microorganisms. So Flora gives it to him. The same time, Lu comes and tells Hirako that some guests have come to our village. Were some daughters who wanted Hirako's wine, and in return they could give them alcohol. So Hirako agrees for this, and now those dwarfs also start living in that village. And they make whiskey for all of them, which was very strong. So they all like it very much. The next day, Hirako sees 3 dragons on top of his village who were fighting each other. So Hirako thinks of killing all 3 of them and throws a spear at them. So those dragons escape from him with great difficulty. Then Drame's servant comes there and tells Hirako that these dragons are Drame, his wife and his daughter. After that, the 3 of them come in their human form. So Hirako asks them the reason for coming there. On this, Drame tells him that my wife had a doubt that I have an affair somewhere. That's why I stay out of the house for a long time, and that's why she came here after me. Knowing this, Hirako apologizes to them for the attack, and leaves them alone, and goes back to work. After Drame says to his wife, I was telling the truth that I come here, and I come here to make my relations good. Because we can't mess with Hirako and his village. So Drame's wife asks her daughter Lasti to stay in that village. So that he takes care that Hirako never goes against them. Now Hirako puts Lasti in the work of taking orders from other villages. Because she was not able to do the rest of the work properly. Then the same demon lord's messenger comes there, and when he sees Lasti there, he is shocked that the dragons are working here. So he also sends his daughter Floram to live in the village of Hirako. So Floram also slowly begins to gather all the details of that village. The next morning, Hirako says that my mind is eating seafood. So Floram tells everyone that I know the owner of the nearby port city company with whom we can trade. She takes to the owner of the company, is very scared to see the corpse there. But when he sees the fruits he brought, he is very happy because he could earn a lot of profit from them. So he agrees to this deal, and personally comes to the village of Hirako to deliver some fish. But there too, he was very scared to see all the angels and elves. But hiding his fear, he says to Hirako that I have just brought the fish. I will send the rest of the goods later. Also, I want to say that I want to become the official trader of your village because I can sell your goods at a higher price. So Hirako agrees for this. The next morning, Hirako sees a dragon in front of his village, which even the angels who were keeping an eye on the jungle could not stop. So Hirako attacks him, but he is saved from the first attack. But with the second attack, she falls down injured. She comes in her human form. Then Drime comes there and says to Hirako that this is my elder sister Hakuran who came here because of the corpse. Because it seemed that the corpse was going to marry you. That's why she was jealous because she wasn't married. So knowing this, Hirako first cleans the place of the forest from Hakuran, which she had ruined. After this, Hirako gives him permission to stay there by feeding him dinner. But he was very lazy, and did not do any work. That's why Hirako gives him the job of teaching the children, which she was doing well. The next morning, some Lamia girls come to ask for help from Hirako because her pets had ruined their house. That's why Hirako also gives them permission to live with food, and puts them in the work of trading. On this side, we see the demon lord's daughter, whose friends come, and tell her that the great village is becoming a danger for us because ancient dragon Hakuran has also met them, and they have imprisoned our friend Floram. Hearing this, the princess makes a plan to free Floram, about which the messenger tells Floram. So Floram quietly runs away from the princess's army with the help of Lamia girls. And brings the princess and her friends to the village, which was very scary because Floram scolded them a lot. Because of them, the princess came here. Now Floram makes Hirako meet all of them. So Hirako also gives them permission to stay there. After this, Florim says to the princess that I have come here at my own will. So you also go from here after staying here for a few days. But by then you will have to live like a normal girl. But those three friends did not want to live there. So she tries to run away from there at night. But Hiraku's pets don't let them run away. Also, they start enjoying their slowly. So she takes care of the paperwork of that village. After a days, the princess leaves from there. After that, Hiraku starts harvesting together with everyone. But they had a lot of vegetables and fruits. So, lastly, she gives some of them to her mom and dad. And Hakurin also gives some of her parents. And in return, while coming, she brings some mountain elves whose food was finished in the area. Therefore, Hiraku gives them permission to stay here, and puts them the work of pottery. After a few days, they find a cave near their village. So Hiraku sends a team there, which tells Hiraku after coming back that there is a blood viper there, and they have to finish it. Then the mountain elves say that if any husband and wife eats the meat of the blood viper, then they become their children. Hearing this, Hiraku is shocked because he had eaten that meat with Lu, and that's why he was a little inactive because he was pregnant. Now after a few days, Hiraku tells us that the maids are taking good care of Lu now, and we have grown so much that we eat in groups. Now our cows and chickens have also become children. On top of that, the maids had also started training themselves. Because he was feeling that he should be ready for any danger. The next day, Lu's grandfather comes to the village where he had come to meet Lu. And when he comes to know that he is pregnant, he becomes very happy. He also asks for the idol of God from Hiraku, which Hiraku had made for his village. So Hiraku gives him an idol in the same way, so his grandfather takes the idol and leaves. And in return, they send an expensive piano to Hiraku. But the maids and other girls were afraid to play it because they thought it could break. So Hiraku buys an old piano from the owner of the sports company that those girls used to play all the time. The next day, when Hiraku was doing his farming work, Lu comes to meet him. So Hiraku asks him about his health. Lu says to him that I am absolutely fine because the maids are taking good care of me. But I am also feeling a little sad because I am not able to drink alcohol now. So Hiraku fills all the alcohol of that village in barrels so that they can drink better alcohol later. After this, all the girls give gifts to Lu one by one. Also, Zabuton also makes clothes for the children. Then it was time Lu's delivery, so some maids come to his room. And Hiraku comes to that giant tree and thinks that when he came to this village, he was very lonely and there was no one with him. But now there are many people in his village, and his child is also going to be born. Next morning, Hiraku quickly goes to his house where he finds out that Lu has given birth to a boy who is a half-vampire. So in the happiness of his son, Hiraku announces a party in the entire village. At same time, he also makes currency for the village because now those people were many and used to deal in many things. Now after getting those coins, everyone buys different things from him. Then some girls come and tell Hiraku that some people need space to live. So Hiraku decides that he will make a new village for those people, and with this season 1 ends here. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.